Is it, you know? Okay, I guess we can start now. Right. So last week I gave you all this question to do. And so how was the question? Was it easy? Was it hard? Or was it manageable? I mean, don't tell manageable. It's either you have two answers. Either it's easy or it's hard. If you're saying average, that means it's hard for you, but you think no, it's easy for you, but you think you have messed it up. That those are the people who say average. So you have two options: easy or hard. Okay, let's check. Broke my head twice. Wow, nice. The people who actually did this, like who are like constantly doing all the questions up to date. I think for y'all pretty. I mean, for y'all it was like like Jujupi. The people who don't do these actually, when I tell y'all to do, for them it might be a bit hard. But anyways, let's go through. Like for example, these are 2021 paper. So we have two more remaining, 22 and 23, and then we are khalas with around 7 past papers. Yeah. So let's start. A teacher asked from 50 students to choose their preferred travel destination, either Kandy or Gaul, for the annual school trip. The destination will be decided based on the highest student preference. The following flowchart with blank labels from A to F represent the scenarios. Okay, so if you read the scenario, they are saying there are 50 students, it seems, and the teacher wants to decide, it seems, where to go for the trip. So they are planning a trip, and the teacher wants to decide: are we going to go to Kandy or are we going to go to Gaul, right? So the decision is going to be what do you call, like they're going to have like a poll, like they're going to ask the students, do you prefer Kandy or do you prefer Gaul, Kira? They're going to ask this question from each and every student, and then based on the highest preference, okay, so they are going to see, you can see the highest preference. Based on the highest preference, they're going to decide, okay, are we going to go to Gaul or are we going to go to Kandy? So if I go through this whole flow chart, I can see there is in the beginning itself, you can see they have declared three variables. There is one variable called student count, there is one variable called Kandy count, and there is one variable called Gaul count. Okay, and then if you go through the flowchart, you can see your first of all checking is student count less than some a specific value. And if the student count is less than a specified value, you're going to ask the student their travel preference. Fine. And if their travel preference is Kandy, then you're going to update the value of that Kandy count, or else you're going to update the value of that Gaul count. Fine. And then you can see you're going to increase the value of student count. Fine. Okay. Now, if I check this specific repetition, okay, for example, if I check this set of instructions that are going to repeat, if I'm going to like put outline for this, if I know, if you can see based on this condition you have here, based on this condition, you can see these set of instructions are going to repeat. Okay, these set of instructions are going to again going to repeat based on this specific condition. So if you look at that repetition, if you look at what is repeating, you can see asking the students their preference, and if their preference is Kandy, updating Kandy count. If their preference is not Kandy, updating the Gaul count. That is what's happening in this set of repetition. So based on that, tell me now. You can see there is this get travel preference is repeating. Now, this get travel preference, this has to repeat how many times? Based on this scenario, tell me how many times do you think we have to get this travel preference? How many travel preferences should we get? Exactly. We have to get 50. How do we know it's 50 travel preference we have to get? Exactly. Perfect. Because why? In the question they are saying there are 50 students. So if there are 50 students, each and every 50 student might have their own preference. Some might have Kandy, some might have Gaul. But I have to ask all those 50 students their preferences. So these get travel preference, this instruction has to be repeated obviously 50 times. So based on that, you can get an idea, right? This loop is there and there's a set of instructions here, right? These instructions should be repeated how many times? So based on that, we can make the conclusion that these set of instructions has to be repeated how many times? It has to be repeated 50 times. Okay, let me ask you a quick question. If you take a flow chart, okay, if you take a flow chart, and if that flow chart is going to be basically having a repetition, let's say you have it like, a flow, like for example, let's say this kind of flow chart. If there's a flow chart that's going to have a repetition structure, then tell me what is the purpose of the decision box? So we call this, you can call this a decision box, or you can call this a conditional statement. In repetition kind of flow charts, what do you think is the purpose of this decision box, or what do you think is the purpose of this what do you call condition box statement? To satisfy a condition, no. If true, do one statement, no. Think a bit differently, like why do you think, what is the function of that? So for example, let's say I have an office. In an office, let's say I have a security guard. Now, if I come and ask you what is the function of the security guard, or what is the purpose of the security guard, will you tell he, what do you call, stands every time, he sits every time, he walks here? Are you telling what does he do? No, I'm asking what is his function, what is the purpose of his? The purpose of a security guard is to basically secure the building in that kind of scenario. Similarly, if you take this condition here, what is the purpose of that condition? Why do I have to do it? Increment the value of the, no, check the number of students. To continue the loop. To continue the loop, you're somewhat close to the answer. Count which is secure, while true, let things happen as the top control. Aftab, I mean, correct. You're 90% close to the answer. No. If you take, they can ask you these questions in exams. It's possible. The purpose of a decision box, especially in a flow chart, is sorry, in a repetition structure, is to control the repetition. The word control is a keyword here. Okay, it is to control the repetitions, which means because of this decision box, I can control the number of times, okay, number of instances these instructions are going to repeat. Now, based on that, tell me, I had to make sure that these, now you all know that I had to make sure that these instructions repeat 50 times. So I have to write a condition here inside this what you call decision box. I had to write a condition there that will make sure these instructions are repeated 50 times. Once 50 times are completed, we have to stop the repetition. We have to stop the repetition. Okay. For this, we can do something like this. Okay. Before I tell that, what do you think this B should be? Oh, wait. Before that, let's first of all finish A below. A is anyways E. What is A going to be? The initial value of goal count. First of all, let's come for that below. That's anyways easy. Obviously, the initial value of goal count is 0, because without asking any students what their preference is, or without going through any analysis, okay, we can't tell now that this much students prefer goal. So obviously, goal count is going to be 0. That's fine. Now let's come for the B value. Now tell me, what do you think the value of B should be? Ashra is on its own. He's doing YouTube. Exactly. It is 50. Now, when I was asking you all, I got two answers. Some of you all were saying it is 50. Some of you all were saying it's 51. Let me tell you one thing. Now, if you look at this loop, we are first of all checking, is student count less than B? Is student count less than B? Initially, what is the value of student count? First time when I'm going to check this decision box, okay? When I'm going to check this decision box for the first time, what is the value of student count? Look at the flowchart and tell me. Exactly, it is 0. So when the student count is 0, I am checking, should I continue the loop or not? So likewise, if you look at this whole program, before the loop ends, okay, at the end of basically the last instructions executed, in the end is increasing the value of student count. You can see the once the instructions inside are repeated, the last thing that is going to be repeated is increasing the value of student count. Okay, so every time this loop is being checked, every time this instruction is being repeated, first it was count was first of all the student count was 0. In the next iteration, okay, the next time the loop is going to repeat, the student count will become 1, then it will become 2, then it will become 3. Likewise, the value is going to increase. If you're asking me, how do I know that value is going to increase by 1? If you look at this instruction down, they have mentioned student count is equal to student count plus 1, which means they're telling update the value of student count by adding one more value to it. Okay. So if you look at this whole flow chart, when this program is, when it's repeating, initially we are checking is 0 less than 50. Second, we are checking is 1 less than 50, then 2 less than 50, 3 less than 50, like that it's going. Okay. Now, let's say we came to the point of 49. Ade, that's what I'm explaining. Wait. I'm explaining why 50 is correct and why 51 is not correct. We'll have to have something called sabur, man. I have to take a separate class for your teaching what do you mean by sabur. Anyways, fine. Okay, so basically I'll be checking 2, 3, 4 kill. I'll be checking each and every value. Likewise, when I'm checking is 49 less than 50, will this give me true or false? That's going to give me true. When I'm checking is 50 less than 50, will this give me true or false? That's going to give me false. So if I use 50 as a for that what you call label B, if I use 50, okay, the values I'll be checking in the condition. First of all, I'll be checking 0. No. Likewise, I'll be checking 4, 5, 6 killer. The last value I'll be checking is 48 and then 49. Okay, when I'm checking 50, that's going to give me false. No, so it's not going to repeat. So these instructions I have inside, there is this statement, this statement, these statements are the instructions, and these statement, the instructions we have inside is there. Those instructions will be repeated when student count was 0, when student count was 1, when student count was 2, and that will go up to when student count was 49. That is if I use this condition called 50. Similarly, if I use a condition, if I use that, if the label B, if the label B, if I put less than 51, okay, when I go and check, is 49 less than 51? True or false? That's going to give me true. When I check, is 50 less than 51? True or false? That's also going to give me true. If I check, is 51 less than 51? True or false? That's going to be false. So if I use this 51, if I use a condition 51, okay, I'll be checking when student count is 0, student count is 1, 2, 3, kill, I'll be checking. I'll be checking 49 also. I'll be checking 50 also. Okay, in 51 only, it's going to become false. In 51 only, it's going to become false. Use your head properly and answer. Between 0 to 5, sorry, between 0 to 3, easy. Between 0 to 3, how many numbers are there? I mean, from 0 to 3, sorry, from 0 to 3, how many numbers are there? 0, 1, 2, 3. How many numbers are there? 4 numbers are there. Between 0 to 4, how many numbers are there? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 numbers. Similarly, between 0 to now, if I use 50 as a condition here, the values I'll be checking is from 0 to 49 now, because 50 will become false. We know 50 will become false. So between 0 to 49, how many numbers are there? Exactly. There are 50 numbers. If I use 51 as a condition, it will become false at 51. No. So between 0 to 50, how many numbers are there? There are 51 numbers. Now let me answer your questions. So some of you are asking, why can't this condition, why can't the label be become 51? No. If I use 51 here, this loop or the instructions here will be executed when the value of student count is 0, it's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it will go up to 49, 50 as well. So between 0 to 50, there are 51 numbers, which means if I use condition B as 51, okay, if I use the condition B as 51, the loop will repeated. Sorry, if I use 51, if I use it as 51, the instructions inside will be repeated 51 times. But if I use B equals 50 for that B label, for the label B, if I use 50, the instructions will be repeated only 50 times. Because why? Between 0 to 49, because the 49 is the last value, they're going to check true. So between that range, there are 50 numbers. Is that clear? If the student count is given as 1, it will be 50. Exactly. If the student count is given as 1, it will be 51 then. But here, what have they given as student count? So you can see the starting value of student count is given as 0. So because it is given as 0, the label B is going to be 50. Is that clear, all of you all? Yes or no? Those who are asking about 51, did you all get the idea now? Why is 51 wrong? Right. So perfect. So for now we have found A and B. Okay. So A is actually 0 and B is actually 50. So let me write that here. A we found as 0, B we found as 50. Now let's go for the next instruction C. Before I go for C, is there any questions you'll have to ask from me? Anyone having any questions there? Okay, let's go for the next one then. So now when you look at this flow, what loop is used? Here, this is a while loop. Why didn't they use greater than or equal? That is their preference. If they want, they'll use greater. If they want, depending on the question, you can't ask questions like that, man, because that is their preference. I can even make this whole question upside down even, and I can create the same logic. Do you know what do you mean by solution space? Let's see if you all can remember the first thing you all learned in this lesson. What do you mean by solution space? Where we find solutions. Wrong. Umair Suleiman almost correct. Nabiha correct. Exactly. All of you are correct. Basically, solution space is basically the different possible solutions we have for a problem. Okay. Always when you take a problem, you can solve it in many ways, especially when you're using what you call technology to solve a problem. There are different approaches we can solve the problem, right? Now, for example, one of the algorithm is like this. If I want, I can create my own algorithm in a more different way as well. Okay. So sometimes if I give you all the question, some of you all might do it in a more different way as well. Sometimes it might be longer, sometimes it might be shorter, right? So if you take a problem, there could be multiple solutions. You can't go and question why is he doing like that? Why is he doing like this? Why isn't he doing that? That is his preferences. Because why? These are if it's working, it's good to go. If your solution is working, they're good to go. So these are all basically alternate solutions we have. In this question, they have done like this, but these are the only way you could do this. There are different other ways you could do this as well. Fine. Now let's go for C. Why no repeat until loop? Who said you can't use repeat until loop? I said this is what the question decided to use, man. You're asking more questions. Anyways, let's go to C. Now, if you see here, we're asking the user after the user entered preferred location, we are checking did he enter candy. Okay. If he had entered candy, what should we do here? What should this C be? Up now in C, you can see they're updating the value of candy count now. You can see candy count is equal to something plus one. What should it be adding? Plus one to? Exactly. It should be adding plus one to the existing candy count value. So initially, let's say zero students like candy. I mean, initially zero students wanted to go to candy. But now let's say one fellow is like, I want to go to candy. So now what should I do? I have to update the value of candy count by adding one more to it. So to update that value, I'll be writing a statement here as candy count is equal to candy count plus one. So based on that, C should be candy underscore count. Always check your spellings because in programming sometimes they can cut marks if you miss this underscore. Now, some of you are giving answer candy's place count. Some of you are saying candy count without the underscore. So make sure you check the spellings. Case is not a big issue. That means uppercase, lowercase. Simple capital is not an issue, but spelling mistakes are sometimes an issue in terms of answers because the questions are easy. When the questions are easy, they want to figure out a way to cut the marks. So to cut the marks, they go like this. Long variables make me uncomfortable. That's your problem. Better get used to it, man. Anyways, explain C again. If you look at this program, first of all, you're asking the user to enter his preferred location. Does he want to go to Gaul or does he want to go to Candy? In this condition here, you're checking is he entering the value as Candy? Okay. If he's entering the value of Candy, you can see we're updating the value of Candy count. Okay. So the question here is what is C basically? Right. Now imagine up to now, let's say we checked around 3 students. Up to now, none of them had selected Candy as their preferred location. So if none of them selected Candy as their preferred location, obviously the value of Candy count is going to be 0. No? Candy count is going to be 0. Now let's say the fourth student we asked, he was like, I want to go to Candy. So if the fourth student's travel preference was Candy, what should I do? That 0 was there, I had to make that 0, 1. Basically, I had to update the value of candy count. So if I write instructions like this, candy count is equal to candy count plus 1. So the meaning of this instruction is basically we're saying update the value of candy count to. Okay, so this is going to be the new value. We're saying make the new value of candy count equal to the current value of candy count plus 1. So this is going to have the current value of candy count plus 1. Imagine I'm saying like this. If I say x equals 5, what I'm saying here is tell the value of x to become 5. If I say x equals 3 plus 5, what I'm telling here is make the value of x as 3 plus 5. Imagine if I say something is x is equal to 5. Okay, let me give you these two statements. Let's say I'm telling you something is x equals 5, y equals 3, and now I'm saying update the value of x as x equals x plus 5. So what does this statement mean is we're saying update the value of x, and now the value of x is going to be equal to the current value of x plus the current value of y. So now the new value of x is going to be current value of x is 5, no? Current value of y is 3. So now the new value of x is going to be 8. That kind of a statement is only mentioned here. Got it? Okay, perfect. So I have mentioned there as what do you call C is going to be candy count. Similarly, what is going to be D? D and E you can swap and write. You can swap what is D and what is E. But anyways, what is going to be D? Tell me first of all. What is the most preferred? Exactly. D is going to be the most preferred order you can write for D as goal count. Okay. If D is goal count, then what is going to be E? E is going to be 1. Okay. If you want, you can put D as 1 and E as goal count. You can swap them as well. But again, I'm going to write in the correct order. You can swap it again. Okay. So D is going to be goal count and E is going to be plus 1. The reason is because when you're checking here is the candy the preferred location. If it's giving false, that means he has not decided, he has not chose candy. If he has not chose candy, the scenario we have, you can see, if they have not chose candy, then the other option they have is goal. So because of that, when I'm asking, is your preference candy? If it's no, then I'm gonna tell, okay, then there is another one more fellow who likes to go to goal killer, right? So to increase that value, I'm saying goal count is equal to goal count plus 1. There is a blue box in the screen which covers blue box. Huh? Wait, let me stop the sharing and again reshare it. Now box whatever there. No need. All right. Okay, that's I don't know somewhere. I know sorry. I reshare it. Why do people put the goal count first? Again, it's their preference. It's like you're asking me why when you're wearing clothes, why do some people put the shirt first and then the trouser? Why can't they put the trouser and shirt? It's your preference. When some people put the shirt first, some people put the trouser first. At the end of the day, they are going to come out with both the clothes. They will not come only with the shirt or they will not come only with the trouser. They're going to come with both. Some stupid questions will all ask you. Exactly. That's why I told you, look, you can swap it. I just don't like that. Okay. Any other questions anyone have there? All right. The next one. So let's say this condition is going. The main condition is going to give you. You're welcome, Shazmi. Control the laugh. Exactly. Can you swap the steps in a flowchart? Can you swap the steps in a flowchart? You can't jump a step. I mean, you go in a step by step. Now, the purpose of this arrowhead is normally what do you call the arrowhead as? The arrowhead is called as the control flow. So you basically follow the arrowhead and go. So it's, in certain scenarios, you can see the arrowhead is going to jump an instruction. The arrowhead. So if the arrowhead jump, basically you go in that specific order. For example, let's say you have yes and no. For example, let's say this condition gave me yes value. If this condition gave me yes, okay, I'll be ignoring this statement too. Something like that. So just basically you just go in the order of this control flow. Right. So let's say now you said if we swap D and E is that wrong? No, I said if you swap, you can swap D and E. I said you can, which means if you want, you can mention D as goal count, E as 1, or you can mention D as 1, E as goal count because both are the same. For example, mentioning x equals 5 plus 3 and x equals 3 plus 5, are these two different or are these two the same? If I mention x equals 5 plus 3, x equals 3 plus 5, is it same or different? It's the same. That's what I said. You can swap D and E basically. You can put one here and goal count there, or goal count here and one there. It's basically the same. Right. So now let's go for this main condition giving you false. So if the main condition gives you false, that means you are completed with getting the 50 students preferences, right? And you have also got the count of how many have selected goal and how many have selected candy. Now you have to decide, are we going to goal or are we going to candy? For that, only this condition is there. So this condition is going to check, is candy count greater than what? What are we basically checking the count with? Candy count is greater than exactly the goal count. So F is going to be the goal count. Okay, F is going to be the goal count. So you're going to check, is candy count greater than goal count. Now, if the candy count is greater, then you can see we are going to go to candy, see travel to candy. If the candy count is not greater, that means if candy count is not greater, means who is greater now? If this condition is going to give you false, that means who is greater? If this condition is giving you false, who is greater? Exactly, goal count is greater. So that's why you can see if that condition is giving you false, you're saying print to, sorry, travel to goal. So the answers are A is 0, B is 50, C is candy count, D is goal count, E is 1, and F is goal count. Right? Put 1 mark each and tell me how much marks you got for this. If it becomes equal, what will happen? Good question. If it becomes equal, what do you think? What do you think we'll go? We'll be going to candy or goal? Look at this flow chart and tell me if they are equal. Nothing wrong. Both wrong. Look at the flow chart and answer my question. If the count is equal, where do you think we will be going? Candy or goal? Use your brains properly, man. For example, let's say candy count was 50, sorry, 25. Okay. Let's say candy count was 25 and goal count was 25. I'm checking, is 25 greater than 25? Will this condition give me true or false? When I check this condition, it will give true or false. It's giving me false. If this condition is false, look at the flow chart and tell me, what are we going to do? We're going to go to goal. You can see if this condition is false, we're going to go toward this direction. So if it's false, we're going to goal. Isn't it? How come you say nowhere? It's not nowhere, we're going to goal. If it's equal, we're going to goal. Unfair. Who cares about that? Maybe the teacher likes to go to goal. But students asking go to candy. That's why what she does is, let's have fun killer. Flow chart equal tibut. Heme goal gaya. I thought that's equal sign. It's greater than sign. Man. Got it. So if they're equal, actually, you go to goal. Logically, is it correct? Yeah, it's correct. Logically, you see the condition is false, we're going to goal. Game over. It's waste of time. Maybe, but it's like this no story. If the teacher tells no, you come, we have to go to goal. The students will be like, that's unfair. Actually, they'll fight. But let's say she put an algorithm like this, no one will know how many students are asking for goal. No one will know how many are full, and she's done. Halas. No, no, there is no equal sign. You can look at the flow chart. There is no equal sign. It's just greater. 25 is greater than F. So simple. Justice not safe. Who cares? Okay, anyways, now I missed your marks. Tell me out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, how many marks you all get? Put 1 mark each and tell me how many marks you all got. 5, 5, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 5, 6. Not bad. Majority of you have got at least 4, but yeah, majority have got 6 basically. Now tell me, is this flowchart easy or is this question hard? After you completed this question, what do you think about it? Exactly, it's very easy. Anyone having any questions here? That's great, Shazni. Exactly, it's just a piece of cake. With this, we are done with the programming question. No, we have the 2022 O-level paper and 23 O-level. Actually, I love the 23 paper. It's very, very easy. But several people got it wrong. You didn't understand the question properly at first. That's why I'm saying read the question properly, read step by step, go through each and every given data, and do the question. Actually, today is the last dinner. Yeah. Okay. Um, I'll give you all 5 minutes. Just do this question. No, wait. 5 minutes is yeah. 5 minutes is enough. Only the Roman number eight. Huh? Only the Roman number eight. I'll give you all 5 minutes. Quickly do it. Only this Roman number eight. I was so confused. I closed and slept. Why? 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 Don't do this. Do we have it in our tute? No, you don't have this in your tute. Uh, Maintain a special, I mean, a separate writing book for the paper class, and just do it. So hereafter, all the, I mean, today is the last day we are doing programming. After we'll be doing, I mean, we'll be coming across programming again, but unofficially, which means a mixed question. Anyways, quickly do this question. I'll give you all 5 minutes. Now the time is 6:41. Until 6:45, I'll give you a time. Actually, do you all know one thing? You all are better than the 11.5s in terms of programming. I mean, there were some not lose cases. I mean, you all also have some not lose only, but comparatively, your brains are a bit working. Okay, Jadisha. Maybe because you thought us from the beginning. Or maybe. Those who are done with the question, raise your hand in the personal list so that I know you're done. Which year past paper is this? First of all, do other than tell. Rather than killing me, will jump for the answer script and find the answer. Exactly. Yeah, but I know one, but I'll reply to yours later. Yes, 5 minutes. 15 of you all are done. Others, you'll have 1 more minute. Quickly do it. Is it? Fatima, yes, yes. You'll be getting a break to play. Sound. No patience today. Have. Okay, so let me open the PDF. Wait, why is it in? Exactly. Programming isn't hard. Why are you sick? Okay, so let me show you the answer. Reason is getting printed with that 1718. Okay, done. Right. So half of you, I mean, majority of you have done it. So I'm going to start discussing. Other lazy fellows, do it. Okay. No, Jatishan, no. So from here onwards, the questions will be like basically I'll daily share all the question. So for the paper class, you'll have to maintain a separate writing book. Right. So let's write the answer. This is the 2022 paper. Assume that a player can receive a score between 1 and 10 for a game. The score the score is a particular wait. First of all, the player can receive. Okay, so basically, a player can receive a score between 1 and 10. It seems. Okay, let's leave that aside. The score a particular player play has received in the scores a particular player has received in 10 games are stored in array S as follows. Okay. So basically, in a game, you can score the marks between 1 to 10. It seems 1 is the lowest marks, and 10 is a lowest score, and 10 is the highest score in a specific game. And there's a fellow who has played 10 games, right? So in the first game he played, he has got 10 marks. The second game he had played five scores. Third game he had got 3 points. Fourth game 4 points. Fifth game 7. Sixth game 5. Seven this. Eight this. Nine this. And the last game he played, the 10th game he played, he has got 7 points. That is stored in an array as given below. Right. Let's go through the questions. It is required to find how many times the player scored 5 or higher. Here they have mentioned the function of the program indirectly. They are saying we are we are going to find basically the number of times he got more than 5 or higher. He had scored 5 or higher. We are going to count it. The flowchart drawn for this purpose is shown. Write down the correct replacements for label P and Q. Right. If I go through this program, I can see there is a variable called count, and initially they have mentioned the value as P. P is a label, huh? And they have said I equals 0. So there's there's a variable called count, and there's a variable called I. If I go through this program, I have here a condition to check is I less than 10. Okay. If I is less than 10, you can see there are certain conditions. So these instructions are like, you can see it's like repeating. See, again and again, we're coming and checking is I less than 10. So these instructions are repeating, okay, again and again. So we are going to, it's based on this specific condition. So you're going to come and check is I less than 10. Once I is not less than 10, which indirectly means Once I is equal to 10 or I is greater than 10. Once we come to that situation, you can see we're going to print the value of count. Now, based on this, I can make an idea, right? I can get the idea of what is the purpose of the I variable. Okay. You can get questions that also they can ask you what is the purpose of I variable, what is the purpose of count variable. You can get questions like that as well. But basically, after analyzing this program, I was able to understand the purpose of the variable I. The purpose of the variable I is basically to control or to make sure that we repeat this instruction 10 times. Okay. To know what is which iteration are we in. Okay, initially the value of I is 0, then 1 2 3 kill, it's going to repeat again and again. And the purpose of the I variable is basically to basically control the number of times, or basically you can tell the whole condition there. Okay, this whole condition we have is to control the number of times we're going to repeat the instructions we have inside. The first instruction we have inside is we're going to check is the array S. You can see the name of the array they have given here is S. Okay, the array S index number I. Okay, index number I means initially the value of I was 0. No? So first time we're going to check array S index number 0. Again, keep in mind this I is actually a variable. Okay, so variables are used for what purpose in a program? It is used to, if you take a program, what is the purpose of a variable? Exactly. If you take a variable, the purpose of a variable is to store values. These are purpose of a variable. So if you notice here, initially the variable I is storing what value? What is the value stored by this variable called I? Exactly. Initially you can see I is storing the value of 0. So you can see I equals 0. For the first value of I is basically 0. So first time when I'm coming and checking this program here, I'm checking here in this yellow color highlighted condition, I'm checking is 0 less than 10. Now when I check is 0 less than 10, obviously you know it's less than 10. No? So we're going to go towards this yes direction. Here you can see there's a condition box checking is Si greater than or equal to Q, which means they are going to check is the value of array S index number I is a value we have there greater than or equal to Q. First of all, let's see what are these letters being representing you. If you do the letter S, it is representing the name of the array. So you can see the name of the array is S. So I'm going to check array S index number I. Now, first time when I'm running this program, I is holding the value of how much? I is holding the value of 0. No? So we are going to check is the array S index number 0. Is the value we have in this index, is it greater than or equal to Q? Now, look at this program and tell me first of all, is Q a variable? We have here an unknown term called Q. No? Is this Q a variable? No, Q is not a variable. If you go through the question, they have given you that Q is actually a label. P and Q are label, and we are basically going through this program itself to find the value of P and find the value of Q. Okay, so Q is not a variable, Q is not a constant, nothing. Q is just a label. So now you can see here, to find what is Q, first of all, you should know what is happening in this program. Now you can see still I did not answer the value. I did not tell you all what is the answer of P. I still did not tell you all what is the answer of Q. That doesn't mean I don't know the answer. I cannot tell in the first instance itself. I'm here explaining you all how to find the answer, because you can't now if you do, unless you have practice or unless you have created similar programs, directly figuring out P is 0 and Q is 5 is actually hard. Okay, I actually know the answer. But for you to figure out the answer, there is this whole process you have to follow. Okay, for that only you have to go through the program and understand the program. Now, if you notice here, we are checking is a value of array S index number 0. Okay, like in the beginning time, we're going to check this fellow. Okay, this value is it equal to something? You can see if it is equal to something, you have a variable called count, and you're going to increase the value of count. And if it is not equal, you can see we are going to come directly for this condition called I equals I plus 1. And if you go through this program, I equals I plus 1, you will come for this instruction, even if the condition is false as you're coming, even if the condition is true, see indirectly again, you're going to come for this condition, right? So if you look at this program, you can see I is basically used as a variable to check, are we going to go 10 times? That's first thing. Second thing is, you can see this I variable only, you're going to say SI. It's going to store the index, or you're going to check the index. Now, initially you say SI is basically array S index number 0. Then it became S array S index number 1, array S index number 2. You can see the value of I is going to increase. No, this fellow is going to increase the value of I. See, I equals I plus 1. So in the initial stage, you're going to check array s index number 0. The next array s index number 1, index number 2 you're going to check, right? Based on that, tell me what is the purpose of this count variable? Fatima, come to answer it. What is the purpose of the count variable? Ashri, you don't get you don't get this PDF before the class. So you're doing the question. I'll be giving you all the time to do the question. You will be doing it separately on writing book. Once the class is over, I'll be sharing all this PDF. Exactly. If you look at this program, you can after you see go went through the whole thing, you can see at the end also we are displaying the value of count. Okay. So if you go through the whole program, you can get idea right. The purpose of the count variable is to store the number of times the player has scored 5 or higher. You can see the number of times the player has scored 5 or higher, that is being stored in the count variable. So before we check each and every values, now for example, you can see in this blue color I highlighted decision box I have. What I'm doing is I'm checking each and every values now in the array. Now before I check any value, what 5 is going to be. Before I check, before I come and ask you number of times you had scored, let's say number 5, you had scored 5 points or more than 5 points. Okay. Before I know the number of times you had scored, in my mind, what would be the number of times you had scored 5 or higher? What would be the initial value? Exactly. Initially, it's going to obviously be 0. After I come and check with you, after I come and check with the 10 different points you got only, I will be able to tell, okay, did you score 0 times, but you score 5 points or more than 5 points, or did you score 3 times or 4 times? I will be able to exactly know the number of times you got to know after going through each and every value. So initially, I don't know the number of times you got 5. So because of that, basically we can say count is going to be equal to 0. Initially count is 0. And within this repetition structure, okay, within this repetition structure, we're actually finding the number of times he actually scored 5 or higher. And then once we're done finding that only, we're going to display here the value of count. So based on that, you can make a conclusion, fine, that P is going to be, the label P is there, right? The label P is going to be 0. Is that clear, all of you? All of you are clear, right? Why the label P is 0. Right. Now, based on the program we went through, tell me, what do you think the label Q is going to be? That is, you're going to check, is an array S index number I. Is it greater than or equal to what? Exactly. The question has mentioned, you're going to check whether how many times the student has scored 5 or higher. So therefore, we are going to check is the values here, the value in the respective index, is that greater than or equal to 5. So Q is going to be 5. The label Q is going to be 5. You can see if it is greater than or equal, okay, we are going to come for this yes direction. No? So if it is greater than or equal, we are going to update the value of count variable by 1. So based on that, P is going to be 0, Q is going to be 5. Is that clear, all of you? Yes or no? Right. Some of you will ask me, isn't P and Q a variable? Why aren't they a variable? They are not variables. They are basically labels, which means they have created this flow chart and it's like fill in the blanks. Imagine there's a blank there. So they're asking what should be in that blank. So initially, this Q is going to be replaced by number 5 like this. P is going to be replaced by 0. These are just labels. Okay. What is the, can you explain Q again? I'll come to that, wait. What is the purpose of using a green statement? If I don't use that green statement, what will happen is the value of I will not increase. Okay. If the value of I doesn't increase, okay, if the value of I, basically this is going to change the value of I. No? If I don't change the value of I, every time I go through, for example, if I, let's say this statement was not there. If this statement is not there, from no, you're going to directly come here. Or from here also, you're going to directly come here. No? Now, if you're going to directly come like that, you can see every time when I'm going to check is I less than 10, I'm always checking is 0 less than 10, is 0 less than 10. That's what I'm checking. And here when I'm checking is array S index number I greater than or equal to Q. Every time I'll be checking array S index number 0. So what will happen is one thing, the loop will not stop, the program will not stop. Second thing is I'm basically checking only the value in the first index. I'm sorry, zero index. I'm not going for the other index. So for me to be able to go to other index and for me to be able to control that this is going to go 10 times only, the value of I should change. So initially it should check is 0 less than 10, then 1 less than 10, then 2 less than 10. Till I have to change. To change that only, I'm having this green color statement. Is that clear? Okay, perfect. Can you explain Q again? If you look at this, Shafan, just look at this program, you'll be able to see here that we are checking is a value of the array S, a specified index. Initially, the value of I was 0. No? So initially, we are checking array S index number 0. Is it greater than or equal to a specific number? Is it, no, this is a blank which we have to fill. You can see the question has mentioned, write down the correct replacements for label P and Q. So they are saying label P and Q are labels. They are just like fill in the blanks. We have to just tell instead of Q, what should be there. Instead of P, what should be there. So if you look at this program itself, you can see if this condition is true, that means if the value of array is index number 0, that means at a specific index in this array, if it is equal to something, you can see here you're updating the value of count. Say count equals count plus 1. And at the end of the program, you're going to display count. So if you notice the whole program, the purpose of the program is what? To find the number of times the player scored 5 or higher. So you can see greater than or equal to what it should be. Now we are going to base it now. You can see count is only going to store that. The count variable is only going to store the number of times. So to check whether whether the player got 5 or higher, only this blue color highlighted instruction is there. So I'm checking there is a value in index number 0 equal greater than or equal to 5 in the first instance. The second instance, this green color statement, like after that, you can see the green color statement will say I equals I plus 1. So now early I was 0, no? Now the value of I will be changed to 1. So here when I'm again checking the yellow condition, it's like I'm checking 0 less than 10. And when I come for the blue condition, it's like I'm checking array S, index number 1, is it greater than or equal to 5? Likewise, I'll be able to go through each and every value in this array and check are they equal to 5. Only if they're equal to 5, you can say only if they're equal to 5, the statement will give you yes, and you're going to update the value of count. So that's why we say count Q is basically 5. Got it? Any other questions anyone have? I variable to store the to store the value of but to control the number of iterations. Again, to specify the index, we are going to check that these are two purpose bookmark. Okay, so put 1 mark for finding p equals 0 and put 1 mark for finding q equals 5 and tell me out of 2 marks how much did you all get here. When the I is 0 to 9, the program will stop. When I is 9, it will continue. When I is 10, okay, when you go and check 10 is less than 10, it will give false and you print count. So when it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it will repeat. So based on that, you will be able to find the index 0 value, index 1, index 2, index 3, from 0 index to the last index. Last index 9, no? You'll be able to find the value. Exactly, Mario. Okay, for P 1 mark, Q 1 mark, how much do you get? Is this the real amount of marks we'll be getting? Yes, this is coming in the part 2, question number 1. These are compulsory questions. Huh? You can't skip this question in oral exam. This is a compulsory question. Part 2, question number 1, a 2 marks question. For P 1 mark, for Q 1 mark. This is not the main question. This is just a compulsory question. Then question number 1. Right. Perfect. I hope that was all clear. Right. So let's go now for the next question. Yeah. I think this question you have to write a pseudocode. Yes. Okay. Try doing this question. I'll give you. This is a main question. There's two questions, Roman number 1 and Roman number 2. So first of all, answer this question and then answer this question. What is the time now? 7:05. I'll give you a time till 7:15. That's too much. This is a 10 marks question. So obviously you have to get maximum 10 minutes. But okay, I'll give you a time till 7:15. Try answering these two questions. Once you're done answering them, raise your hand in the participants list. By the way, for the grade 10s, I'll be starting logic gates this week. Okay, so if there's anyone of you who wants to like go through logic gates, revise logic gates, you can purchase the grade 10 class this week. In grade 11 means we'll be starting the multimedia lesson, not physical will be starting this week probably. Online we might start next week. I'll let you all know. Wait, have to pay. Yeah, that's a paid class. I'm just telling you all regarding that. I shall check. I'll check. Grade 10 logic gates. Yes. Is it possible to get the logic recording? Yeah, actually, every week. Normally, I share the recordings and the PDFs of this as well. I'll be sharing you a link for a community. If you're not there, you can join that community because that is where I post all these stuffs after the class. So let me just put that in the chat. If you're not there in that community, click on that link and join the community. We have to purchase a grade 10 lesson through the website. If you're joining online, yes, through the website. If you're joining physical, you can come to Master Vella or Master Academy Colon now and join it. Will you do class for grade 11 to explain the whole programming lesson again? No. Why? I have already have a YouTube video explaining the basics of programming, which means pseudocode, flowchart, complete. Now, if you look at all these questions, if you take the ratio of the number of pseudocode questions plus flowchart question, pseudocode flowchart plus question versus the number of Pascal question. If you take ratio wise, you would have noticed it's like 9 to 1 ratio. Okay, or it's like 9.5 to 0.5. It's a very small ratio of Pascal questions you get. Most you'll get these Pascal questions MCQs. That doesn't mean Pascal is not important. Huh? Pascal is important. Like in Pascal, that array part is important. But apart from that, majority is from pseudocode flowchart. So I have actually, the last year, the year before the last, I did a free seminar regarding pseudocode and flowchart. It is there in the YouTube channel as well. If you go to YouTube, the Master ID YouTube channel, it's there. But you also you can just go through that to get the thorough idea of, like, I go through pseudocode and flowchart in depth, everything, the theory. I am not doing array there as I can remember. I don't think I did array in that. I did only pseudocode and flowchart. So if you really want to like get idea of pseudocode flowchart, you can go and check that video. Well about the time and day. Grade 10 is, I think, drop your WhatsApp message I send you. So Friday is 5 to 7. Grade 11, 5, Thursday 5 to 7. But yeah, regarding paid classes, drop your WhatsApp message. Dun, 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 dun. Also, Roman number two. Roman number two, what is the issue in that? Pseudocode should be written to only one student from the above. The question you ask shows me something, but okay, I'm not going to reply now. You know, I'll tell you one thing. Always when you get a question, answer what they're asking, not what's there in your head. So read the question properly and see what are they asking and answer that. I'll drop the link of the pseudo programming things in the community if you want after class. You'll have one more mate, quickly do it. Okay, time up. Only six of you did this question? Yeah. Shish. But me. It's a very easy question. Who are the six? Shafana, Yahya, Ashifa, Lamha, Hafsa, Zainab. Both the Zainabs. And Aftab, Afra, Rihan, Salma, Aisha, Shaima. Then the me raise karna. I'm pretty sure majority of you did not do it. Buru na namakina nisa raise karna. Anyways, almost done. 3 minutes, please. You do the 3 minutes. I will explain the Roman number one if you want. No, you have to. This is 10 minutes is too much. You have to finish this in 10 minutes. You can't take at least. You can't even take. I mean, you can take your exams, but when you're planning, you have to plan for 10 minutes. I did, but got zoned out. Okay, right. Let's focus on the question back. Okay, let's see. A student can go to school either by bicycle, school, van, or bus. So they are saying to go to the school, a student can go through bicycle, or through school van, or through bus. There are three modes of transportation. It can be choose based on the total distance as follows. Okay, so they are going to decide that based on the total distance. It seems like as follows. So they are saying if the total distance is less than or equal to 5 kilometers, so total distance less than or equal to 5 kilometers, then we have to use a bicycle. It seems. So basically, you take the total distance. So I'm going to take the total distances. Let's say TD video. So if TD is basically less than or equal to 5, TD is less than or equal to 5. In this range, okay, we have to use a bus. Fine. When the total distance is more than 5 kilometers. Okay, so let me swap it like this. So we have 5, if it is less than 5. Yes, so if TD is what do you call less than 5 kilometers, then we have to use a bicycle. Then they are saying when the total distance is more than 5 kilometers but less than or equal to 15. Okay, so it's more than 5 but less than or equal to 15. Something like this. Okay, if it's more than 5 but less than or equal to 15, in this kind of scenario, they are saying if the distance from again, right, this is confusing. Let me make it more simplified. When the total is less than 5, use the bicycle, fine. When the total distance is more than 5 kilometers, so here you're going to check more than 5, but less than or equal to 15. Less than or equal to 15, you're going to go and check another condition. The next condition is basically you're going to check if the distance from home to the bus stop. So distance from home to bus stop is less than 1 kilometers. And based on that, you're asking to use the bus, otherwise use a school van. When doing such questions, the easiest way is drawing a tree diagram. I actually draw a tree diagram only when doing these kind of questions. Tree diagram meaning it's just like a rough sketch before you answer this question. But for some of it might not make sense the tree diagram idea. But just see how am I doing it. Okay, the first thing I'm doing is I'm checking is the total distance less than or equal to 5 kilometers. So let's say I'm going to call total distance as TD. So I'm going to check is TD. Let me like take it a bit down so that there is more space. I'm going to check first of all is TD less than or equal to 5. Is TD less than or equal to 5? Now, whenever I check a condition, there are two possible options. There are two possible outcomes. Either the condition is going to become true or the condition is going to become false. Whenever I check a condition, there's going to be two possible outcomes now. Either it's true or false. So I'm going to write this as true and I'm going to write this as false. So when I'm checking is the total distance less than or equal to 5 kilometers, if it is true, I'm asking to use a bicycle. Done. If it is false, okay, now let's forget about the false part and go for the next point. The next point they are saying when the total distance is more than 5 kilometers. Now tell me, when the total distance is more than 5 kilometers, will this condition give me true or will this condition give me false? Let's say the total distance is more than 5 kilometers. If the total distance is more than 5 kilometers, will this condition give me true or will this condition give me false? Exactly. That condition is going to give me false. Okay. So now I know my distance more than 5 kilometers. That's fine. I'm already done with this. But less than or equal to 15. Okay. Now my yellow color condition, is this checking is my total distance less than 15? Is my yellow color less than or equal to 15? No. So I'm going to write another condition here. The second condition I'm going to write here is the total distance less than or equal to 15. Again, this is not the final answer. I'm just drawing a rough sketch here to understand the question. Always try to understand the question before answering the question. So I'm checking is the total distance less than or equal to 15 kilometers. Okay. Now, if the total distance is less than or equal to 15 kilometers. Now, first of all, we had a condition the total distance has to be more than 5 kilometers. Now, if it's more than 5 kilometers, only will be coming towards this green color condition. And then I'm going to check it, is it less than 5 kilometers, 15 kilometers. Now, again, I'm going to check this condition also. There are two outcomes. Either this condition is going to be true or this condition is going to become false. Okay. If this condition is true, I come for the inside part. Here they have said if the distance from home to the bus stop is less than 1 kilometer. Now, not only these two conditions, there's another condition to check. That condition is basically I'm going to check is the distance from home to the bus stop less than 1 kilometers. Okay. So I'm going to take the distance from home to bus stop. I'm going to take this as B. Distance from home to the nearest bus stop. I'm going to consider this as B. Okay. Let's a variable called D. So I'm going to check is this distance less than 1 kilometer. Again, when I'm checking a condition, there are two possible outcomes. Either the condition is going to give me true or the condition is going to give me false. Now, when I'm checking this condition, if it's true, look, man, I'll give time to play. It's 7:40 color. You think I don't play? Wait a minute. If I tell something, I actually take up my words. I never go against my words. If D is less than 1, okay? Okay, basically, if D is less than 1, as per the question, what is the transportation method suggested? That is, if the total distance is more than 5 kilometers, then we are coming towards this direction. But less than or equal 15 kilometers, then we are going toward this direction. Then you are checking if the distance from home to the bus stop less than 1 kilometer. This three. In this path, what do you think is going to be the transportation method suggested? D is less than 1. What should we use? Exactly. We have to use a bus. Otherwise, use a school van. So otherwise, we have to use a school van. That's what is mentioned there. Okay. So for now, I have written a summary of what is mentioned in these 2 points. Look at my like this tree diagram and tell me, do you understand that up to there? Yes or no? Nicely go through the question and go through my radical summary here and tell me, does that make sense? Yes or no? Now let me go for the next question. The third point. The third point they are mentioning when the total distance is greater than 15 kilometers. Now, I wrote here, right, is total distance less than 5. Okay. When they talk about total distance is greater than 15 kilometers, why is it called a tree diagram? Didn't you do maths? Go to maths. In your maths, there's a lesson called probabilities. In probabilities, go and see there's something called tree diagram. Then you know what is tree diagram. Okay. I just told you this is not there in your syllabus. This is not relevant to your answer. This is just understanding the question, man. You all are bloody. Okay, anyways, keep that thing aside. Have to learn some Sabur class. Anyways, fine. Now here they're saying a point called when total distance is greater than 15 kilometers. If the total distance is greater than 15 kilometers, tell me, listen to this properly. Huh? If you already not understand the second point, listen to this because it's all our similar points only. Listen to this properly. The third point they have mentioned the total distance is greater than 15. Now, if the total distance is greater than 15, first of all, tell me, will this condition give me true or will this condition give me false? The yellow one. When the total distance is greater than or equal to 15. Will that give me true or will that give me false? For example, let's say the total distance is 17 kilometers. If it's 17 kilometers, will this give true or false? False. So if it's false, I have written already another condition here. Okay, let's check this condition. Here I have written a condition is the total distance less than or equal to 15. I have written the second condition I have there is the total distance less than or equal to 15. Now let's imagine the total distance is greater than 715 kilometers. For example, let's say it's 17 kilometers ago. In these kind of scenarios, will this green condition give me true or will this green condition give me false? Exactly. That's going to give me false. So what I can do is I can write this part which we have here. I can write that part here. Okay. I can write that part here. Now let's see what's mentioned there. So they are mentioning if the van, so basically if it's less, if the total distance greater than 15 kilometers, I will come coming for this section. Now let's see what should I do in that part. There they have mentioned if the monthly van fare is less than two times the monthly bus fare. Okay, let me consider the monthly van fare as VF, and let me consider monthly bus fare as VF. So I'm going to check if the monthly van fare is, so van fare is VF, no. I'm going to check is a van fare less than two times the monthly bus fare. That is two times the bus fare. I'm going to check this condition. Use a school van. Okay, so if van fare is less than two times bus fare, then again I have yes and no. If it is yes, I have to use a school van. If it is no, I have to use the bus. Now this is the summary of this whole flow chart. I mean whole question given. Is that clear? First of all, during our school exams also, can we draw the diagram just for a clear understanding? It's better. They will not give you marks for this. They will not reduce marks for this. This is for your own purpose, for your own self purpose. It's for example, normally what when I was during school days, what I used to do is I used to do two things. One thing is I used to highlight whatever the key points given. If you had seen my purse itself, you all know how big purse I have. Okay, I used to highlight all the keywords and I used to use different colors for more clarity. And then I used to write summary. This is basically not more than telling tree diagram. It's basically a summary. I just gave tree diagram for the namesake. It's just summarizing the facts. Okay. Now tell me, when you read these points, do you get a clear idea? Or if you go through this chart, or if you go through this diagram, are you getting a clear idea? Comparatively, but it's actually clear. Obviously, the diagram is more clear. So the purpose of the diagram is to simplify this whole scenario for a better understanding. Now let's answer this question based on that. The first question they have mentioned here is write down the most suitable transportation modes for Sitara, Ganesh, Salim, and Nimal based on the given scenario. Fine. Okay. Let's go through Sitara. When you are checking Sitara's total distance, it is 10 kilometers. So now tell me, if Sitara's total distance is 10 kilometers, will this yellow condition give me true or will the yellow condition give me false? Indirectly, what I'm asking is, when I check a condition, is 10 less than or equal to 5? True or false? It's obviously going to give you false. So if it's going to give you false, then you know, okay, you're going to go now to the green color section. So now let's come for the green color section. In green color section, we have, okay, again, we take the total distance, TD is total distance. We're going to check the total distance less than or equal to 15. Now, will this give me true? Sorry for the network interruption. Let me redo it. Param is the last part. After that, I'll actually. Once I'm done with the Roman number one, before I do the Roman number two, I'll give you the prayer break. Don't worry. Okay. Oh, wait, it's 7:30. I'll finish Sitaras and I'll give you the prayer break. Okay. No? Only Sitaras I'll do and then I'll give the prayer break. Let me re-explain that Sitaras one. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, when I check the yellow condition, give me false. Fine. Now come for the green condition. When I'm checking Sitara's total distance, the green condition, will that give me true or will that give me false? Like when I'm checking is 10 less than or equal to 15, true or false? It's 10 less than or equal to 15 because Sitara's total distance is 10, no? Then I'm going to check the green condition, true or false? Exactly. That's going to give me true, right? 10 is less than 15, no? So that's going to give me true. If it's true, you can say I will go towards the blue section. Blue is what? Blue is going to check the distance between I said D is going to be what? D is basically the distance from home to bus stop. Okay. The D is basically I'm going to check is distance between home to bus stop less than 1. If you check Sitara's distance from home to bus stop, it's 0.5 kilometers. So when I check is 0.5 less than 1, will this condition give me true or will this condition give me false? Exactly. That's going to give me what? It's giving me true. So if that is going to give me true, okay, what should be Sitara's mode of transportation? Exactly. It should be bus. Those who did not do this question, you can try finding for Ganesh, Salim, and Nimal. I will actually continue this after the prayer break. I'll give you 5 minutes to pray. Now it's 6:31. At around 6:35, 6:36. Sorry, 7:35, 7:36. But you could, I'll be continuing for the Ganesh Nimal and I'll be doing Roman number 2 as well. Um, do any of you have any class after this? Okay, no, stay. I mean, maximum will go up to 8 o'clock after the prayer break. If you can stay, perfect. So after the prayer break, I'll actually continue the remaining people. Those who did not answer Roman number 1, now using my flowchart at least, try to figure out what is a suitable translation for Ganesh, Salim, and Nim. If you have enough of time, okay. After praying at around 7:36, I'll be continuing the session. So you can pray and quickly come. You can keep the session as it is, and you can pray and come. Okay, I'll do the Roman number 2 next week then. Roman number 1, basically, I'll pray and come with you. So it's before 8 o'clock. Okay, I'm back. I'll just wait for a moment. I mean, a minute, 10, it's 7:37. Let me start. What time is it? 7:40, right? 7:42. I have time. Punctual. Okay, let's start. It was enough of time to pray and come because otherwise I was when I prayed and came. Okay, so now we found that Sitara's most suitable transportation should be bus. Right, let's go for the next person, Ganesh. Now, when I'm going to check Ganesh, always I'll start from the first condition. No? First condition, Ganesh. I'm going to check is Ganesh's total list. No, Ganesh's total distance is 20. No. So basically, I'm going to check now is 20 less than or equal to 5. Will this condition give me true or false? When I'm checking the yellow color one, when I'm checking Ganesh's total distance, the yellow condition, will that give me true or will that give me false? Exactly. That condition is going to give me false. So because it's going to give me false, I'm going to go towards the green side. You can see false is green. No. Now when I come for the green side, the first thing I have is I have to check is his total distance less than or equal to 15 kilometers. So when I'm checking his total distance, is now his total distance, we know Ganesh has got 20 kilometers. No. So if I check Ganesh's total distance is less than or equal to 15, will this condition give me true or will this condition give me false? The second, the green one. Exactly. You can say when I'm checking Ganesh's total distance there, it's giving me false. Because why? When I'm checking is 20 less than 15, it's going to give me false, no. So I go for the next no direction. There I have the pink color. In the pink color I have to check is a van fare less than 2 times the bus fare. Now you can see Ganesh's van fare is basically 8,500. So I'm going to check is 8,500 less than 2 times the bus fare. So bus fare is actually 4,000. So what will be 2 times the bus fare? If bus fare is 4,000, 2 times bus fare is how much? That's going to be 8,000. So I'm going to check is 8,500 less than 8,000. Will this condition give me true or will this condition give me false? Then I'm going to check is 8,500 less than 8,000. Is it less? Is 8,500 less? No, it is not. So based on that, what should be the mode of transportation for Ganesh? If it's no, it's going to be again bus. See, only if it's true, we're going to van. But you can see this condition. The pink condition is only what I checked here. The pink condition also gave me false. So because it is false, we are going to go through the bus. Is that clear, all of you? Yes or no? Okay. Now let's check for Salim. Re-explain. Okay, the same process will happen for everyone. So I'll go through Salim. Listen how Salim's one is working. Okay, it's the same thing, anyways. Now let's go for Salim video. First of all, I check the yellow condition. That is basically we're checking is the total distance less than or equal to 5. You can see Salim's total distance is 14. So I'm going to check first of all is 14 less than or equal to 5. Will this condition give me true or false? Is 14 less than 5? Obviously false. So because of that, I'll go to this direction, the green, towards the green side. In green, I'm going to check is the total distance less than or equal to 15. So Salim's distance is 14 now. I'm checking is 14 less than or equal to 15. Will this give me true or false? Is 14 less than or equal to 15? That's going to give me true. Okay, 14 is less than 15, right? So obviously it's going to give me true. So because it's giving me true, I'm going to go towards the yes direction. In the yes direction, what do I have? Is D less than 1. Salim's distance to the bus stop, that's basically 1.5 kilometer. So if I check, is 1.5 less than 1? True or false? Then I'm going to check, is 1.5 less than 1? Is it true or is it false? Is 1.5 less than 1? For example, let's say I'm saying I have one and a half, what do you call, let's say I'm saying I have 1,500 rupees. You have 1,000 rupees. So I'm telling, do I have less than you? No, I have more than you. 1,500 is more. So basically, that is going to give you false. When I'm checking is 1.5 less than 1, it's going to give you false. So this blue condition gives you false. You're going to go towards what? You're going to go towards the van. So based on that, we can tell Salim is going to go through the van. Is that clear, all of you? Did all of you understand how I found that Salim has to go through the van? Perfect. Similarly, let's check Nimal as well. If you take Nimal, the last fellow we have in a set, Nimal's total distance is 3. So if I come and check is Nimal is 3, no, if I check is 3 less than or equal to 5, true or false? It's so easy to find it from the T diagram. Exactly. That's why I said, first of all, you understand the question, then you do the answer to the question. If you directly start answering the question, you're going to sort of find it. Is 3 less than or equal to 5? It's less. So directly, you know, it's bicycle. So Nimalis has to go through the bicycle. Again, do Ganesh. Okay, let me again do Ganesh. Again, check Ganesh. I'm again doing the Ganesh part. So all of you again check it. Ganesh. Is TD less than or equal to 5? Basically, is 20 less than or equal to 5. Will this condition give me true or false when I'm checking is 20 less than or equal to 5? False, exactly. So if it's false, I'm going to go towards down way, that is towards the green color. There I have is TD less than or equal to 15. So Ganesh's total distance is 20 now. I'm checking his total distance less than or equal to 15. True or false? Is 20 less? Again, false. So I'm going to go towards the pink direction, pink color. Pink is talking about the van fare is less than 2 times the bus fare. Now Ganesh's van fare is 8,500. I'm going to check is 8,500 less than 2 times the bus fare. Ganesh's bus fare is 4,000. So 2 times bus fare is 2 times 4,000 is 8,000. So I'm going to check is 8,500 less than 8,000. True or false? Is 8,500 less? False. So because it's false, you can say I'm going to go toward this direction where it says bus. So Ganesh is going to get the bus. Is that clear? After got it now? Okay, perfect. Did that make sense to all of you all? Yes or no? Put 1 mark each and tell me out of 4 marks how much did you all get? Right? Not bad. Majority of you got 4 marks. Few of you got 3 marks. Now, did you understand why did I waste so much time to figure out this? And Salma, what was the marks you got this time? Perfect. Okay. Do you all now understand why the hell did I waste so much time to figure out this yellow, green, pink? Actually, this is not very helpful for the Roman number one. Shape is helpful for Roman number one. For Roman number two, this is very, very helpful. Okay. I'll come for the. Shall I do the Roman number two now itself? The class will go up to 8 o'clock. It's all fine. Yes or no? Are you okay with it? Okay, all of you are okay. Except two of you. So I'm going to go now itself because majority is okay. Now let me answer the Roman number two. Okay. Roman number two, they are saying write a pseudocode to input the required data for a student. Okay, so they are saying total distance is TD and the bus stop is the distance to the bus stop is D, where one van fare is VF. Basically, the same labels are used for the summary also use the same labels and to output the suitable transport mode. Let me write the pseudocode. It's actually very easy. I had to just draw this tree diagram as a pseudocode. Okay. Actually, shall I tell you one thing? This is not a tree diagram. What have I drawn here? Indirectly, I have drawn a flowchart. If I look at my answer, indirectly I have drawn a flowchart. You see here, you change these rectangles into a rhombus and change this what you call front of all of these conditions, you put a question mark, and front of bicycle, bus, van, just put display, display, display. It's a bloody flowchart. See? So what I have, this is the purpose of pseudocode and flowchart actually. The purpose of a pseudocode and flowchart is to understand or basically show how the program is going to work step by step. So what I'm going to do now is just convert this to bloody pseudocode. Okay. So I write begin to show the start of the flowchart or pseudocode or whatever. Sorry, pseudocode's begin starting. First of all, I had to get the data from the user. So I'm going to write what you call a keyword called input. Again, you can use any other synonyms as well, like input, enter, get, whatever you want. So I'll be like input total distance, that is TD, and input distance to the bus stop, that is D, and monthly van fare, that is VF, and monthly bus fare, that is BF. I'm asking the user to enter all of this data. Okay. Why am I using TD, D, VF, BF? Is that's given the question. See, the question has mentioned total distance as TD, distance to bus stop as D, van fare as BF, monthly bus fare as BF. They have directly mentioned that in the question as well. So after I get this from the user, the first thing I'm going to check is the total distance less than or equal to 5. So I'm going to check here total distance less than or equal to 5. One thing in pseudocode flowchart, you can't write like this is in maths we write this, but the problem is you don't have this symbol in your computer. So normally we write this like less than or equal like this. Okay, the less than or equal part we write it like this. So I'm writing here if the total distance is equal to 50, then and see if it's less than or equal to 5. So less than or equal to 5, then the what do you call then bicycle, right? So I'm going to mention here if TD is less than or equal to 5, then display bicycle. I'm going to simply write as bicycle, but if you want, you can write as an explanatory statement as well. Like you can write a big statement saying, uh, go in the bicycle or use a bicycle. You can write an explanatory statement as well. I have just simplified and write if TD is less than or equal to 5 kilometers, then display 5. Else, that is if this condition is false. Okay, if the condition is false, I have to go and check another condition. The other condition is I'm going to check is TD less than or equal to 15. So I'm going to write another if condition there. If TD is less than or equal to 15, then. So if the condition is true, that is what I mentioned after then. So you can see this condition is true. I have another condition to check. That is D less than 1? So I have to write here, if D is less than 1, then you can see I have written bus. So I'll write display bus. Else means if this D is not less than 1, I have to go through the van. So I'm going to write a display van. Are no space. Shit. Okay, display van. And then that's the end of this D is less than 1 condition. So I'm going to put here an end if. Okay. And that is also the end of this green color true statement as well. So if I go through this section, that's the end. So for this green statement also, I'm going to put end if here. Okay. So if you notice here, there is no more space. I'll write it. Okay. So if you notice here, what I've done is if TD is less than 5, then else. And this green color statement is this. If TD is less than or equal to 15, then what to do? I have mentioned. Still, I have not mentioned the else part for that. Okay. Only if it's true, what should happen, I have mentioned here. No, this is not end if. Okay, this should be else. There is respective for the green statement. And then this blue instruction I mentioned here. If D is less than 1, then what to do? Else what to do? End if. Okay. So this if then else end if is respective for the blue condition. If then else, still I have not gone for the end if of the green color. Yes, this is nested if, correct. Okay. So because I don't have space down, I'm going to write the continuation here. Okay, after else what's happened, I'm going to write here. Else. Else means if this green condition is going to give me false. So the green condition give me false, the first thing I will check is VF less than 2BF. So the condition is going to be if VF is less than, why is my writing going up and down like this? Is VF less than 2BF, Can't we use if TD? I'll come for that. I'll come for that. Wait. If VF is less than 2BF, then okay, if VF is less than 2BF, then display van else display bus end if. So this is the end if for the pink color statement. So if the condition, then else end if is the pink statement. Now for the green statement, I put else, and after the else I mentioned this. So the green statement also should have end if no. So this is the end if for the green if condition. Okay. So if it's false, these instructions should be executed. Then I had to write another end if, and that end if is basically for the yellow instruction. Aisha, I told you this is not there that you have to maintain a separate writing book for this from this question onwards. Okay. And this is how it works. So you can see yellow has if then else end if, green has if then else end if, pink blue has if then else end if, pink has if then else end if. Everything has if then else and end if. I'll answer your question. Some of you have used the and statement in some conditions as well. Okay, but before I start answering yours, look at my whole answer and tell me, are you clear with this? Actually, I should have used more space. But anyways, did you all understand this? Yes or no? Okay. Always double check if you have closed the end if then else if. You can do like this highlighted part which I've done here. I will show you the answer in a while. I'll answer some of your questions you'll have asked. One of you asked, can we use if TD is less than or equal to 15? So let me take a wide gap. One of you asked, if TD is less than or equal to 15 kilometers and D is less than 1 kilometers, then display bus, else display van. This is what one of you all suggested me. Okay. So checking if TD is less than or equal to 15 kilometers. Okay, that's green. And if D is less than 1 kilometers. Okay. So you're checking if TD is less than 15 and D is less than 1. If both are true, you're going to display bus, else you're going to display van. Now, let's say the user's total distance was 17 kilometers. Okay, let's say the user's total distance is 17 kilometers. So if the user's total distance is 17 kilometers, as per the flow, what you call code you mentioned here, are you saying to display bus or display van? So this is the condition you gave me, right? Here you are mentioning if TD is less than 15 kilometers and D is less than 1. As per your given answer here, are you asking me if, let's say, the total distance is 15, 17, sorry, let's say someone's total distance is 17. If someone's total distance was 17, I'm asking this from the person who told me this question. That's from Ashifa. So Ashifa, tell me if your condition is right, is no. So if the total distance is 17, are you asking to use a bus or are you asking to use a van? As per this, bus or van? Is Ashifa there? Van. Okay. Now you decided van just based on these two. But if you look at the question, in the question they have said when the total distance is greater than 15, can you directly tell it is van? Can we directly tell it's van without checking the van fare bus fare? Can we check without comparing the van fare bus fare? Can we check? Can we tell it's van? As per the question, without checking the van fare bus fare, can we tell it is van? After end if, I have written another if condition. Do you know how the if condition works? After end if you're written another if condition, it's like then you're saying to use two transpiration methods. No, that's wrong. You're asking to use two trans now. For example, you're saying something like this, right? So let me show you a program. You're saying something like this, if I'm not wrong. I'll just use examples here, okay? TD equals 17, D equals 5. Then we had the van fare. as 7 and bus fare as, let's say, another example, 8. So if you have a condition, if basically if TD is less than 15 and D is less than 1, okay, I was saying if TD is less than and D is less than 1, then I was saying to display, um, what was your question? Bus, නැත්නම් van. Bus, else, you said van. Okay. And with that, yes, the if condition is over. Okay. Now this is using Python. Python doesn't have end if. Okay. So with that if condition over. And you wrote another if condition for something else. So if you're writing a program like that, this if condition will display one mode of transportation, and this second if condition is going to display another mode of transportation. So basically, you're not giving the user final mode of transportation. You're giving two options for the user. Do you understand why it's wrong? Ash, I got it. Others, are you clear now? How why you can't use and statements, all those stuffs? Let me show you the clean program. The clean program I have in my, who did I send the clean program? Who did I send? Who did I send? Who did I send? Did I send something? No, I sent it for this one, Asma. Wait, I actually did this program long time back as well for the 11.5. I will send you the clean version because this is mine. It looks like broken in two places. No, where is it? This. So this is how your program should be. Some of you are asking why I had written two end ifs. For every if condition you open, there should be an end if. So you see for the yellow color if condition I open, the last end if I have here. For the pink color I have here, green, I mean here color codes are different compared to what I used in the writing there. But you can see for each if condition I've opened, there's an end if as well. That's how your program should be as well. For every end if. And we call this as nested if. Inside one if condition, there's another if condition. Got it? Is that clear for all of you? Right, perfect. So yeah, with that actually we are done with this specific 2022 oral paper. We'll be discussing the 2023 oral paper next week. I mean the programming part, and then after that we'll be going for mixed questions. Next week, indirectly we are starting like half programming and the remaining half are mixed questions, which we are going to discuss. If you have any questions still, you all can stay and ask. Others, if you are clear with everything, you all can actually leave. Will we be getting the tute in theory class? You will be getting a theory tute. For paper class, hereafter no tute. If I give you all, then you all know the questions I'm giving you all. Then there's no time. But if I program only because programming was supposed to be printed in the tute because that is lesson wise question. Now you see, STLC questions we are done with all questions we are done. Internet and email in virtual we are done. Master we are done. I think only online we have to discuss the questions. So basically, the lesson wise discussing we do that in the theory class. So paper class is mainly for mixed question discussion. Only the programming I did here because it requires time. So if I'm going to do these questions in the theory class, I would have done 1 month itself programming questions. So it's unwanted time waste. So next week we'll be doing the 23 paper programming. After that onwards, mixed question. Okay, Shan. So yeah, with that we're done with today's questions. If you all have any questions still, you all can stay and ask. Others actually all can leave. I'm planning to join the class in June. What is the lesson? At the moment, I have finished the third lesson in grade 11 and grade 10 both. Grade 10, I'll be starting the fourth lesson this week. Grade 11, I'll be starting the fourth lesson. Online, I might start it tomorrow or next week. I might start it next week, fourth lesson. I'll let you know. Oh no, I'll be starting the fourth lesson tomorrow online. Yes, tomorrow. You can get all the lessons from the website, Master IT. Okay, or just drop me a WhatsApp message. I will let you know the instructions to this number. Actually, 9798. Sorry. Anyone having any questions? I saw you at the fair. Which hall were you in? YouTube channel name. You can master.it.lk, I guess. Just go to YouTube and search for horror station. That teacher's stall. At that in the corner, I said that. I don't know. Some of my. Wait, if you search master.lk, it's not there. Right? Master.lk, I think it's basically. Master LK ke liye demo, you get this. This is the channel. So you can check. See today's class. Every week's paper class also recording is basically there here. The program you can see a programming, spreadsheet, number conversions, all are there. Just drop them in the chat. It's a student store. Oh, is it? I did not know that. I just some of my friends were organizing. I mean, the organizing committee. I have friends there. Even who was announcing was my friend actually. Okay. Anyways, so you all are done with this, right? So as you all don't have any other questions, I am going to end the meeting. Have a nice day. Bye bye. And sorry for the delay in it. I think I took an extra 15 minutes, but yeah, sorry, half an hour, but yeah. Bye.